So Che again, the No Spoon Podcast. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, hit that share, comment on it if you got something you gotta say. I just watched this video from a TikTok influencer, right? And I really was like, man, this is what kind of defines the problems that we're having, like the divisiveness that you see that's going on in this country is really just comes down to two different worldviews. And fundamentally, we see things differently. And because we see things differently, we expect differences, right? And there's really no arguing with these type of people. There's really no debating with these people because at the end of the day, you believe that the world is this way, and I believe that the world is this way. And because we see it two different ways, we're going to be arguing from two different starting points. Now, this influencer he has a much bigger platform than I do, especially on TikTok. And so I'm really not going to name his name. I'm not in it for the clout. I'm not trying to get recognition off of going after this person. It's really not an attack. It's just I'm just laying out the facts, right? Fundamentally. But in it, he was talking about a situation that took place in a college baseball team, and I guess the student who was black, the player was black, and the coach was white, and the coach was asking him to cut his hair. There was a discrepancy over his hair. Obviously, there's team rules, and I guess his hair violated the team rules. I don't know too much about that situation. I'm not going to even get into it because it's irrelevant. But the influencer went on a rant based on this particular incident of saying, why do minorities play sports at the professional level, at the collegiate level, even in the high school level? Why do they play sports? And he was arguing basically that minorities should not play sports on any of those levels. And his reason was because the owners, the administrators, the coaches don't care about you. That was it. They do not care about the players. And it really had me thinking, and like, this is the fundamental difference, right? This is why we can't see eye to eye because we're starting on drastically different starting points. That starting point believes that the world owes them something, right? You are owed being cared about by your coach, by your teacher, by your employer, by your government, especially that, right? That these people should care about you. And, he even goes on to talk about LeBron James and how they still don't care about him, even though LeBron has made $1 billion off of sports. Even though sports has, changed the lives of thousands and thousands of people. And then if you get into the residual effects of what sports has, their legacy, their children, the generations following them, it's changed millions of people's lives. Not only that, but just the benefits that you get from playing team sports, the discipline, the camaraderie, the being able to work together, the cooperation, those type of bonds that you make while playing sports, the lessons that you learn. It's countless. How many people have benefited from sports? Minorities, probably more so than anybody else. But he just went into a rant, and he was just saying like they shouldn't do that, and it all just came down to that they don't care about you. And see, that's the fundamental difference, right? That side believes that people should care about them. A person like myself, I don't believe that, right? I don't believe that. Well, I'm not. Let me say this. I don't need somebody to care about me. I don't need my elected officials to care about me. I don't need my employer to care about me, right? In the sense, I mean, because he got pretty specific and was saying they're not going to ask you how your mama's doing, how's your, your cousin with cancer, where your history, where your neighborhood you grew up in. Those things are irrelevant to me. I don't care that, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't care if I played in the NFL. I wouldn't care if the owner cared about me. I just care that you sign my check and that check gets into my account. I mean, that's really it. I mean, to me, it's an exchange of value, right? LeBron James is a billionaire because he accumulated $1 billion by providing $1 billion worth of value. If you feel like he should have made more, then that was up to him in negotiations. If you feel like he should have got less, that was up to the people that paid him in negotiations. At the end of the day, people sign contracts. They negotiate their contracts to make the amount of money that they feel that they are worth, and that they feel that the exchange of which I'm giving, in the sense of people looked at LeBron and said, LeBron has value. He played basketball at a level that was entertaining to people, entertaining enough that they were willing to give up their value, right? Their value to watch him play. Me personally, and people that think like me, don't expect anything more. Don't need anything more. I don't need you to care about me, right? The people that care about me are my family and my loved ones and friends, and you know what I mean? Like, that's it. I'm good with that. Like, I don't need anybody else to care about me, you know? Yeah, it's the reality of life that if I lose a step at sports, if an athlete loses a step and they can't provide the same amount of value, then no one's going to give them the same amount of value in return. I mean, this is just common sense. And see, this is the problem, is we have very different worldviews. And so this is, and see, the problem is this, is that this is what happens when we go to decide how our society is going to be structured. I believe that society should be structured along individual responsibilities. I believe the government should be there strictly to ensure that my rights are not infringed upon, and that's it. I don't need them to take care of me. I don't need them to provide me with food, clothing, and shelter. I don't need any of that stuff. But see, what happens is that the other side, who believes that they should be taken care of, gravitates to a politician who are backed by corporate interests, who can then come and say, we'll take care of you. We care about you. Look at the other side. They don't care. We'll give you free this, free that, free college, free education, free health care, free entitlements, free this, free. We're giving because we care. They're not giving you anything. They don't care. And I don't care whether you care or not. So we can't have this argument. So if we debate, let's say gun control, right? They're starting off from a position of we have a right to not be shot. I don't know how to. I have a right to defend myself. It's illegal for somebody to come in and shoot me. Yes, that we have laws for that, and people should be punished based on their laws. And we do give the government and the state that power to uphold certain morals and punish people for certain immoral, acts and so on and so forth, right? But I don't rely on them to take care of my well-being. So I have the right to defend myself. That doesn't mean bad things aren't going to happen. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get injured playing sports. That was one of the arguments he was making. Oh, CTE is on the way. You'll get injured. Your body will be beaten and so on and so forth, and they don't care about you. Look, life is like that, man. Nothing is guaranteed. Adversity is. Struggle is. I don't know what to tell you. You know, you go out there and you put in the effort and you put in the work and you get out what you put in. It's really that simple. What people owe me is the terms that I decide. If I'm getting worked and I'm giving too much value and they're getting more value than it's fair, I need to work a better deal. Right? I believe that you take life into your own hands. So it's hard for us to have these conversations. They say they want health care for all. I say that it's wrong for me to have to give up my money in taxes and give it to the government and let them decide what to do with the value that I earned. Right? If I don't want to get health care, I shouldn't have to get it. If something happens to me, then I should shoulder the burden. I should, burden that. I should be the one to take care of that. I shouldn't have to rely on anybody else. That's my opinion. And see, this is why we have trouble arguing points and debating these issues, because we see it differently. I'm never going to sit here and say, no, you're right. They should take care of you. And this is why I believe, when it all breaks down into masculine and feminine principles, this is like that mommy love. This is that mama love. You should be taken care of. You should be nurtured. And they looked at the government and they looked for these, heroes, and they look for saviors and people to come to save them. And that's mommy. Mommy should come and take you and sit you on her knee and rub your little stomach and feed you and clothe you and pat your butt and tell them that everybody that's making you have to do difficult things is bad. I don't see it that way. I see that's wrong. I think that people manipulate that process. They manipulate that thinking to get power. In other words, a politician comes and says, hey, we'll give you something. We care about you. But what you have to give in return is power. And if I go and I earn a certain amount of dollars and certain amount of money in my work, and then I have to give that money away to the government and then they decide what to do with it, that's my power. What I can create through my labor, through my intelligence, through what I can sell to other people to benefit them, the value that I can accumulate, that's something that I work for. That's my power. And I'm giving it to the government and I'm telling them, you do what you want with that. People manipulate that. That worldview gets manipulated. That's what I'm trying to say here. And so we are having a national, we always talk about let's have a national conversation, whatever that means. I don't know. But we're having a national conversation and we're starting from two different starting points. And we can't reconcile it because we see it so differently. That college coach, that NFL owner, that high school coach, they don't owe you anything but to put you out in the best position on the field to produce a product that's going to get value. Period. If you can't play up to a certain level that the people want to see and exchange their value to go see, I don't know what to tell you, man. That's life. You know what I mean? That's what happens with women's sports, like the WNBA. It's reality. They keep saying we should get paid like the men, but you don't bring in the same amount of value that the men bring. You don't generate it. You don't generate the same income. You don't generate the same resources and revenue. You don't. So I don't know, why do you think that we should take away from other people? See, that's their end game. We should take away from those that are providing more value and give it to you for what? Charity? We're starting from two different starting points. And I believe that power belongs to the individual. I believe that the individual is responsible for taking care of themselves. I don't believe that anybody owes you anything. I'm sorry. I hear what you're saying, but it's just illogical. It doesn't make sense. Subscribe to the channel. Share, like, comment. get it to many people as possible. Share No Spoon Podcast.